Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Hello. Today, we gather to celebrate something truly remarkable. The spirit of adventure, the power of discovery, and the courage to step into the unknown. At Acton Academy, we believe that education is not just about memorizing facts or following a predetermined path. It is about embracing the journey of a hero, stepping beyond the ordinary and daring to create something extraordinary. For our Launchpad learners, this journey is called the Next Great Adventure. It is a challenge, a commitment, and a declaration, saying, I will take ownership of my future. I will seek wisdom, embrace failure, and forge my own path. But let's be honest, this journey is not easy. It begins in the ordinary world, a place of comfort and predictability. Many people stay here their whole lives, waiting for permission to chase their dreams, but not our learners. They choose something different. They answer the call to adventure. And what does that call sound like? It is the whisper of curiosity urging them to explore. It is the fire of passion pushing them to create. And it is the quiet but undeniable belief that they are capable of something greater. So, they step forward into the unknown. But stepping forward means leaving certainty behind. The path is unmarked. There is no clear map, no teacher telling them exactly what to do. Instead, they must seek knowledge, ask the hard questions, and trust themselves to navigate obstacles along the way. And there will be obstacles. Resistance, distraction, victim mentality, entitlement, mediocrity, and apathy. The temptation to give up when things get hard. These are the monsters of the journey. Those. Not dragons or villains from a storybook, but the challenges within themselves. But here is the beautiful truth. Every challenge is an opportunity to grow. Every failure is a lesson in disguise, and every struggle is proof that they are becoming stronger. Through the Next Great Adventure, our learners discover something profound. They are not just students. They are explorers of ideas, creators of their own future, and they are heroes of their own journey. And like every great hero, they do not journey alone. They seek out mentors, connect with those who have walked before them, and learn from every conversation, every experience, and every challenge. They forge their own path, one that is uniquely theirs. And then something extraordinary happens. One day, they wake up and realize they are no longer the same person who started this journey. They have grown, they have changed, they have stepped into their calling. And at that moment, when they recognize their own power, their own purpose, and their own potential, is what the Next Great Adventure is all about. So today I ask each of you, whether you are a learner, a parent, a mentor, a dreamer, what is your next great adventure? What is calling you forward? What challenge will you embrace? What dream will you chase with relentless determination? Because the truth is, the call to adventure is not just for the young. It's for all of us. We do not have to stay in the ordinary world, waiting. We can step forward. We can begin the journey. So let us go boldly. Let us seek, learn, create, and lead. Let us embrace our own next great adventure. The future belongs to those who dare to step into the unknown. Will you answer the call? The Next Great Adventure program is more than just a high school experience. Excuse me. It's a launch pad for discovering passions and purposes. With built-in course correction, dynamic badges, and challenges designed to push boundaries, students are empowered to explore with their unique gifts, where the unique gifts meet the world's greatest needs. Through deep dives, finding mentors, securing real-world apprenticeships, immersing themselves in their chosen industries, and building powerful professional networks, students don't just dream about the future, they step into it. They gain invaluable experience that will put them above the competition in their field while still in high school. But this isn't just an academic program. It's a transformational journey that opens doors traditional schooling never could. Life's path is rarely straight. I think we all know that. And while students may not stay on one course forever, this program equips them with the skills and confidence to pivot, to adapt, and to carve out new opportunities wherever their journey leads. Now, I have the absolute privilege of introducing our first speaker, and that is Brogan Zimisch.
A big question everyone asks himself at some point is, who am I? It all starts with his mom, who named him Brogan Daniel Zimisch, which means only God can judge me, which at the time, his mom didn't realize how much he would live his life like that. At a young age, Brogan went to a preschool called Cornerstone. When he was there, he was always confident and outgoing, never shy, never reserved. He was always talkative and making friends. Most of all, he loved to help. Little did Brogan know, not being shy or reserved would help him later in his life. Once Brogan graduated preschool, he was homeschooled by his mom for only a year. Then he went to a school called St. Cloud Prep. In first grade, he was someone who would always try the best in everything he did. One thing he was not the best at the time was reading. In third grade, he ended up failing that year, and later, instead of spending time with his friends, he went to summer school so he can move up to fourth grade. When Brogan got into fourth grade, he taught himself how to write cursive. It was sloppy cursive, but it was still cursive. When Brogan got into fifth grade, nothing really happened that would have changed him. When Brogan got into sixth grade, he had to make a decision that would change the direction of his life. He had to choose to stay at the school where all his friends were, or go to a new school called St. Cloud Christian Prep. Brogan decided to go to St. Cloud Christian Prep. At that school, they used Facebooks, which helped you keep track of what you were doing. You also had a teacher, but everything was at your own pace, which helped him understand I could get things done as fast as possible, or I could slack off with getting my work done. At this point, Brogan understood that I could accomplish things by myself. He was at St. Cloud Christian Prep for another year until his principal, Mr. J, who was one of his mentors, left to go to Kenneth Kirchman Foundation. Mr. J started an after-school program there that teaches you about conservation and how to take care of it, as well as an archery program. At the time, Brogan didn't realize how much he would learn through this program from being consistent and staying disciplined. After Mr. J left this school, Brogan stayed there for another 2 years. During his 7th grade year, nothing happened that changed him. But in 8th grade, we all know this, COVID-19 broke out. Brogan had to do all his schoolwork through Zoom and really disliked it because he didn't like using devices. Going into the end of Brogan's 8th grade year, his mom asked him if he wanted to go to a new school. He thought about it for a while and finally said yes. When his mom started to look for schools around the St. Cloud area, she saw a couple, but the one that really stuck out to her was Arts Hereafter. It said Arts Hereafter is not a teacher-led school, but a learner-led school. And little did she know that would change how Brogan looked at life. When she told Brogan about this school, she said, "We're going on a tour to this school." And later that week, him and his mom went to the campus to see what it was like. Brogan was told by Miss Jen, who is the owner of Arts Thereafter, "We believe everyone will have the chance to change the world one day." At that moment, Brogan thought, "What will I do to change the world?" That's where my journey at Acton began. I am Brogan Daniel Zimish, currently an 18-year-old young man. Starting at Arts Thereafter, my first year here, I learned a lot, like how to type on a computer and use a computer. I also learned how Acton works. I spent my whole first year trying to adapt to the way the school works. It was tricky, but I ended up figuring it out. During my 4 years at Acton, one thing I have enjoyed the most is the hands-on learning. It has helped me learn faster and comprehend what I'm learning about. Though at the time in Acton Academy, it has also helped me to have proper conversations with anyone and solve conflicts and talk things out. I have also learned at Acton Academy how to critically think through all the launches we do weekly. Being at Acton, I have heard a lot of quotes, but one that stuck out to me the most was by Cuz D'Amato. "The difference between a hero and a coward isn't what they feel. They are both scared, but it is what they do." I found this when I was looking through my NGA Deep book. NGA, for those who don't know, is your next great adventure. And my next great adventure right now is entrepreneurship. Through my NGA, I have got to experience apprenticeships, one being Kenneth Kirchman Foundation and the other one being Florida Beef Jerky. When I did my apprenticeship with Kenneth Kirchman Foundation, through the apprenticeship, I also got to meet people who would take care of the woods and protect the animals. The one thing I enjoyed the most while doing the apprenticeship was meeting people who were like-minded. After my apprenticeship with Kenneth Kirchman Foundation, I saw a company downtown that was at an event I went to. That company was Florida Beef Jerky. With doing my second apprenticeship, I got to learn what it was like to have a small company become a bigger company. I also got to learn how to make up sale pitches on the spot while selling beef jerky. With learning how to find like-minded people and creating sales pitches on the spot, I made these two companies. The first company is lawn care. The second company is a pressure washing. I started these businesses when I was in 10th grade. I have faced many challenges, like having to figure out how much to charge and what works best for my time. One thing I haven't struggled with, though, is asking people if they would like their lawn to be mowed or their driveway to be pressure washed. I have also had to find a deliberate practice and a freelance for my NGA. What I decided to do for my deliberate practice for 20 hours was find different ways I could make a lawn look better than the ones that were around the neighborhood. For my freelancing, I decided to find new lawns and get paid $20 for 20 hours. I have learned a lot through my NGA, but one step I wish I took sooner was doing it younger. With my NGA being entrepreneurship, my ask to you is not money, but your time and your knowledge, creating businesses to create new businesses and farther my own. If you're interested, I'd love to hear from you. I'd also like to give a big thank you for those who are around me and supporting me. Thank you.
Excellence is never an accident. It is always the result of high intention, sincere effort, and intelligent execution. It represents the wise choice of many alternatives. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. Hello, my name is Ella Joy Henderson. This quote by Aristotle is one of the many philosophies I strive to live by. I believe that with fair, unyielding morals, hard work, grit, and excellence, there's nothing that will stop you from achieving something exceptional in life. Not many people today have that mindset. In fact,
I believe it's past decisions and choices that really transforms an individual. Everyone started somewhere, so I'm going to explain the most important moments and decisions of my life and why they shaped the person you see standing here today. It all started when my mom initially planned to name me Emma. But since my aunt had already named her daughter Emma, we couldn't have two Emmas in the family. So on December 13th, 2006, my mom chose the name Ella, inspired by the legendary jazz vocalist Ella Fitzgerald, often called the First Lady of Song. Ironically, at the time, my mom had no idea how much of this name would come to influence me later on in my life. One day, my mom and dad shared that they were planning to open a school and would need me and my siblings to help. It was a strange moment because I didn't quite understand why they needed us at the time. Yes, I was attending a public school and facing significant struggles, but I didn't think much of it. However, my parents could see the difficulties I was going through. We began with a summer camp, and over the next 4 years, we worked on opening up a school, which gave my parents plenty of stress and a few gray hairs. After we built the school named Anesis Christian Academy, my parents discovered Acton Academy, located in Austin, Texas, founded by Jeff, Laura, Sam, and Charlie Sanford. They realized the value of critical thinking, which was a core part of the daily experience at Acton Academy. Eventually, we transitioned into an Acton Academy and renamed our school Arts thereafter. Once we became an Acton Academy, I truly began to thrive. I started apprenticeships with various people and organizations, although I wasn't sure where to begin. My first apprenticeship was with a midwife, and while it was an insightful learning experience, I realized it wasn't the right fit for me. I started asking myself, what if I used the gifts God blessed me with in my everyday life? This question became something I pondered daily. I reflected on my background in musical theater and my experience with singing, and I remembered how both sides of my family were full of musicians, opera singers, drummers, pianists, music theater performers, and vocalists. I've always had a love for jazz, as well as an old soul. It finally clicked. What if I became a professional jazz vocalist? And that's when everything began, and I would focus on pursuing jazz as my next great adventure. Tonight, I'm going to show you my first-hand experience by performing a song for you.
If I expected love till first we kissed, blame it on my youth. If only just for you I could exist, blame it on my youth. I believed in everything like a child at 3. You meant more than everything, all the world to me. If you were on my mind night and day, blame it on my youth. If I forgot to eat and sleep and pray, blame it on my youth. And if I cried a little bit when first I learned the truth, don't blame it on my heart, blame it on my youth.
The first time I remember listening to jazz was when I was 5 or 6 years old. my mother played a song with Louis Armstrong for me in the car. I hated it. His voice sounded rough and grainy, which was not my style. But as I began to mature, I grew to love the dynamics and improvisation of jazz. I realized jazz is an art, and so much more different than any other type of music out there. Another reason why jazz is so important would be it's often described like a musical conversation, where musicians interact, respond to each other's playing, creating a dynamic and engaging experience. Because jazz is so versatile, it often tends to manipulate different emotions with each tune, as well as lyrics and deep emotion of each song. But can we say the same thing about today's music? How does today's music we are absorbing daily play a part on our souls and mental health? I believe this traditional standard music style is becoming a lost genre. I would often show my friends basic jazz standards, and I could see the distaste on their faces. It then became clear to me that most of my generation didn't share the same appreciation that I did, which was confusing to me because jazz has such a deep, melodious sound. In fact, according to a 2014 Nielsen report, jazz has become the least popular category of music. Along with classical, it represented just 1.4% of total US music. Many now see jazz as a dying genre. Perhaps this is true. For most people, jazz is sadly irrelevant, a relic of another day. But I would strongly disagree. I believe that jazz is constantly evolving and modernizing, which has been easily overlooked by society. I believe jazz is an important part of history and is vital for preserving cultural heritage, fostering creativity, and providing a rich musical landscape for future generations. To plainly state, jazz has played a large part in my life, and it could be the same for others. My goal is to influence enough of my generation to start listening to jazz and healthier music by being a prominent figure in the music industry while bringing a modern twist. I'm currently asking for $3,920 for professional sound equipment. I plan to use the equipment for weddings, birthday parties, and formal events that include the younger generation. To prove my love and passion for jazz, I will show past evidence having spent 20 hours with a professional jazz band in Maitland, Florida, at a famous jazz club called Jazz Tastings, as well as a focus on posting my videos on social media to appeal to the younger audiences. Social media is a great place of influence since approximately 94% of Gen Z use social media, and 65% of Gen Alpha, ages 8 to 10, spend up to 4 hours a day on it. I've also committed to a 200-hour mentorship with a well-known music studio, Joy Music Studios, in St. Cloud, Florida. Not only have I been getting connections for possible gigs, I've been running Joy Music Studios' social media and marketing. To show that this is more than just a hobby, I will show you pictures with my other mentors. Britt Chase Shelley, a professional model, singer, and actress, Aloha Erica, a wedding singer, and Alicia Fichter, the owner of Joy Music Studios. Because I shadowed under these mentors, I learned many lessons and gained quite a bit of experience. Some of the experience I learned from them was, as a jazz singer, my job is to put on a show, meaning I have to look the part, as well as be prepared for anything and gain the right connections. What is my first promise, you ask? Well, I've got many. I promise to uphold outstanding morality and to be someone young people can look up to. In a world full of distractions and shortcuts, I choose integrity. I choose to lead by example through kindness, discipline, and steady dedication to my craft. Because music is more than sound, it's influence. It's something we all look towards, and I want my music to be something that uplifts and inspires others, especially those in my generation. But what's a message without a platform? I promise to grow my social media to 1,000 followers, not for vanity, not for likes, but to create a space where people can connect through music, where inspiration is shared, and where my journey can motivate others to pursue their own dreams. I promise to book at least 7 performance jobs in my first year, and I believe every performance is a lesson, and every stage is an opportunity. Not only that, but every note played is a chance to reach someone who needs to hear it. Consistency in performance builds mastery, and I'm committed to becoming the best jazz vocalist I can be, and I promise to earn my Bachelor of Music from the University of Miami, not just to add a title to my name, but to refine my skills, gain a network for professional musicians, deepen my understanding, and to prepare for the future I envision. The last thing I want to leave you with is a story. A story about a boy who grew up in the most poverty, crime-ridden area of New Orleans, known as the Battle Area, with an absent father that abandoned the family early on, leaving his mother to struggle and make ends meet to try and put bread on the table for her 3 children. The boy had constant severe cases of anxiety he struggled with. But what always seemed to calm him down was listening to his trumpet. And as he got a little older, his piece became jazz. This boy is Louis Armstrong, one of the most influential jazz musicians of all time. And that's why my mission is to bring jazz to succeeding generations. Jazz is not some fancy tune. Jazz that elevates the mind, lifts the heart, and frees the soul. Thank you to my mentors, family, and friends. And thank you so much for your time. I hope you have a wonderful evening.
Can you guys hear me? Okay. Once upon a time, there was a little girl who was alone. She was homeschooled, had no siblings, and it was just her. She spent 4 years alone on an island with her parents and the rest of her family in the States. She wasn't sad, but she knew she was missing something. Until one day she discovered her parents were expecting another child. This little girl had no idea what to think about the situation, but embraced it. Flash forward to 9 years later, she's 17 with 3 siblings, the ages of 8, 6, and 3. After her parents had her first sibling, they went on to have 2 more children, leaving the girl to help out most nights and treating her siblings like her own. With her closest sibling in age being 8 years younger than her, she gained lots of knowledge on how to handle kids, change diapers, and many more skills. What would you do in this situation? Some might move on and just keep going about their days, but this girl embraced her situation and used her experiences with younger ones to make it into a career. When she was around children outside her family, she felt loved and cared for by them, and she absolutely loved them. This girl is me, Ava Rodriguez, and this is my NGA talk. During this talk together, we're going to venture through how I found my calling, what I'm currently doing to achieve my final goal, and what you can do to help me, and in return, things that I can do. When discovering my calling, I somehow always brought it back to children or helping others in some type of way, even when I didn't think I wanted to go into childcare. My first thought was a reporter, an honest one that would help the American people know what was really going on in their country. Then it was a missionary for women and children. After much thought of what being a missionary was and what I wanted to do on these missions, I realized I didn't have to travel to foreign and dangerous countries to have an impact on young children. I can do it here in my community. After establishing that I didn't want to travel away from my friends and family to help children, I took a step forward and got an apprenticeship at a preschool, which was the best experience I could ask for. After the first day of school, I realized that I belonged with children and really found comfort in being around them. Once my apprenticeship hours were over, for my 80-hour apprenticeship badge, I realized it wasn't time for me to leave yet. Even though I already learned a lot from them, it was still the beginning of the year, and there was so much learning to do, so I stayed for my 120-hour apprenticeship. While doing my apprenticeships, I was hired by Arts Are After to be a part-time guide. Between working at the preschool and Arts Are After, I knew for a fact I belonged with children. During exhibitions, when presenting what I did and asked about my work or apprenticeship, people can see my face light up when talking about my experiences and the kids I cared for. I've been told by parents that they had no idea how young I was because of how well I could manage a classroom at the preschool, and when my age was revealed, they were taken back by it. This isn't because I've taken a class to know how to handle a room of kids or have a degree. It's because I'm truly passionate about preparing these young minds into powerful, well-rounded individuals. Knowing that I helped make that impact brings me nothing but joy and excitement. Let's rewind back and talk about my time at Arts Are After. My biggest lessons learned here is hard work pays off. This is a saying I heard a lot growing up and even today in some scenarios. But I never really felt like my hard work paid off. But I stand here today as a 17-year-old about to graduate in exactly 2 months and a year early. And this to me truly means a lot. While in public school, I was told I wasn't good at school and was just another fish in the sea. To the administrators and teachers, I wasn't seen as special. I think this is where I had another spark to want to help kids. I didn't want anyone, little or small, to feel defeated as I did, and that always lingered in the back of my mind. What better impact can you have on the world than preparing the future generation? Well, I'm sure there are a couple other things that you could probably think about, but to me, I think that's up there. That's my plan, to love the future generations, care for them, and make them know that they're important, because I know how it is to not know that. All it takes is one person to show interest for people to feel empowered and make changes in their lives or the world. I want you guys to think about one person who inspired you to do what you do today. Is it an old teacher, a parent, a sibling? No matter who it is, I'm sure there is mainly one person who either encouraged you to do it or inspired you. I want to be that person. Like I said before, I graduate in as soon as 2 months. While I do already have a job lined up, I've committed to Valencia College. For my first 2 years, I have a wonderful opportunity of a full-ride scholarship. After those 2 years, I plan to transfer to the University of Central Florida. While in college, I plan to study early childhood education. This degree will help me work in schools if I wanted to in the future, get credentials to work in a preschool, become a teacher, and many more opportunities that will help me reach where I want to be. I don't think that a degree will help me know more, but it is a good tool and a good opportunity that would be foolish not to take. Even though I do get my 2 years for free, I still need help paying for books for my first 2 years and tuition for when I transfer. This is where I need your help. To get one step closer to achieving my goal of providing academic support and to furnish a hopeful future, I'm asking for some assistance with tuition once I transfer to the University of Central Florida. The full tuition is $19,366, but I'm only asking for half, which is $9,682. The cost of books is around $1,212. With this money, I promise to graduate with my bachelor's in early childhood education. I promise to be a support to the heroes that I meet in the future to my best abilities. I promise to treat any growing minds I come across as kindly as I've been treated here. I want to carry and use the skills I earn in my college years to the best of my ability and be the best version of myself in every situation. As my speech comes to an end, I truly want to thank every single person here. I thank my 5 guests for being here when I needed it and being some of the most encouraging mentors I have. The 5 people I've invited today helped me achieve my goals to graduate no matter what and have done everything in their best abilities to support me. I have so much gratitude for all 5 of you, and I'll forever be thankful. I thank all the guests that have taken the time to come and support all the seniors on our night. I thank all the people watching this video and taking the time to hear my story. Thank you all so much for your time, and I hope you've enjoyed yourselves. Good night.
Well, I'm going to come up and say thank you to everybody that was the invitees. I mean, everyone's here. We're so thankful that everybody's here, but also the people that came by and mentored Brogan, Ella, and Ava. But we wanted to take a special second and say thank you guys for being here. We really appreciate you. Before we go, can we just say a quick prayer for welcoming you or thanking you for being in their lives, and also that everybody has a safe ride home. Really quick. Lord Jesus, we come to you now, and we're so thankful, Father, for these people that you placed in every one of our NGAers' lives. We're so thankful that they have been able to give their knowledge to them, and that they've been reflective of it, and they're thankful for it. God, we just ask that you give everyone a safe ride home, and again, in your name we pray, amen. Well, guys, we're good. Thank you for being here tonight, and we'll see you next time. Oh, sorry, wait 1 second. Oh, thank you. Also, I was supposed to keep up with that the whole time. And to get into contact with these launch patterns, you can use the QR code there. You just scan that with your phone. I believe you can also take a picture of it too if you don't want to do it as of right now. But you can keep up with what's going on with them by scanning that code. And we're good to go. Thank you so much. Bye.